Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janaballabha Giridvaradhari Gopi Janaballabha Giridvaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Deya Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shabam Sabaraj Gachai Sto Jai Sati Sisi Mal A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnu Bhavan Saparajikacharya Astatara Satasisi Man Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Go Premanandi. Today we're reading from Sri Caitanya Caritamrita, Adi-lila, chapter 10, text 50. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Pratigraha nahi kore nai loy kara dhan. Atma vritti kore kore kutumba bharan. Pratigraha nahi kore na loy kara dhan. Atma vritti kore kore kutumba bharan. Pratigraha nahi kore nai loy kadhan. Atma vritti kore kare kutumba bharan.
Pratigraha nahi kore nai Atma vritti kore kare kutumba bharan.
Pratigraha nahi kore na loy kadhan. Atma vritti kore kare kutumba bharan.
Pratigraha nahi kore nai
Pratigraha nahi kore. He did not accept charity from anyone. Na, nut. Loy, take. Kara, anyone's. Dhana, wealth. Atma vritti, own perfection. Kori, executing. Kore, maintained. Kutumba, family. Bharana, provision. Srila Murari Gupta never accepted charity from friends, nor did he accept money from anyone. He practiced as a physician and maintained his family with his earnings. Purport. It should be noted that a grihastha, householder, must not make his livelihood by begging from anyone. Every householder of the higher caste should engage himself in his own occupational duty as a brahmana, kshatriya, or vaishya. But he should not engage in the service of others, for this is the duty of a shudra. One should simply accept whatever he earns by his own profession. The engagements of a brahmana are yajan, patan, dana, and pratigraha. A brahmana should be a worshipper of Vishnu, and he should also instruct others how to worship him. A kshatriya can become a landholder and earn his livelihood by levying taxes or collecting rent from tenants. A vaishya can accept agriculture or general trade as an occupational duty. Since Murari Gupta was born in a physician's family, Vaidya Vamsha, he practiced as a physician, and with whatever income he earned, he maintained his family. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, everyone should execute his occupational duty, and thus he should satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the perfection of life. This system is called Devamrita. Murari Gupta was an ideal grihastha, for he was a great devotee of Lord Ramchandra and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By practicing as a physician, he maintained his family and at the same time satisfied Lord Chaitanya to the best of his ability. This is the ideal of householder life. Translation again. Srila Murari Gupta never accepted charity from friends, nor did he accept money from anyone. He practiced as a physician and maintained his family with his earnings. Om Jnana Chimarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militang Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We're reading about the glories of Srila Murari Gupta, a dear associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And besides his being an associate, devotee of Mahaprabhu, he's also a very attached devotee of Lord Ramchandra. So today we'll speak about money and love. Oh, what more popular topics could there be? This purport is talking about money in the classic Vedic system, Varnashrama, and particularly Varnashrama that's focused on satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not just the material system of classification, but that material system of classification is focused upon pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As Srimad Bhagavatam points out, Shrama eva hi kevalam. What's the use in following the Varnashram system if you don't develop attachment for hearing and chanting about Krishna? So there's that system, which is a material system, but it's Krishna's material system, and therefore we pay attention to it. Otherwise we could say, well, there's this system, that system. What is the fuss about Varnashrama? That devotees talk about it often, try to grapple with it, wonder how to apply it. In their doing so, in their grappling with this classic system, they're thinking about Krishna because it's Krishna's system. Chaturvarna Mayastrista Guna Karma Vivagasa. Krishna says, I created this system, which is material. So the purport is giving you insight into the economics of the classic Varnashram system. Money is a great indicator of where your focus and your energies are flowing. If you want to understand a lot of your life, start charting the flow of money in your life. Now you might say, well, there's not much of that, so no problem. Still, whatever there is, see how it's shaping your life. And then you'll make a big step forward to getting a grip on your life. Last week we were talking about your system, your collection of habits. All the small habitual things you do every day add up to be your system. And so therefore, if you want to change your life, I want to be a better devotee, you make a great mistake by overlooking the micro aspects of your life, which all add up to the macro. So with money, whether you have a lot or have a little, look and see the flow of money in your life, how it's determining or not determining various goals, behavior, consciousness. Many people say, I never think of money. But that's not true. They think because they don't have much, therefore they never think of it. But you're living in the material world, and the material world is based on money and gratification of the body. Otherwise, what's the point of the material world? You want power and control, which money seems to give, so that you can gratify your body. If you're not interested in either of that, then you're not interested in the material world. So the Vedic system gives a standard methodology for each occupational division to relate to money. Brahmanas live by accepting charity and giving charity. They're the personification of simple living and high thinking. As Prabhupada writes in the purport, the engagements of a Brahmana are yajan, patan, dana, and pratigraha. The Brahmana worships the deity and teaches others to worship the deity. The Brahmana studies the Vedic knowledge and teaches others the Vedic knowledge. And the Brahmana gives and receives charity. Now, why would the Brahmana give charity? We can understand he receives charity. But the Brahmana gives charity because he doesn't or she doesn't want more than necessary. And sometimes people just shower gifts upon the Brahmana. So the Brahmana accepts what is needed for living a simple life and gives the rest away. So that is the economics of a Brahmana. And then a Kshatriya gives protection to people, administrates for the upliftment of people, and earns the livelihood by levying taxes or collecting rent from those occupying the land under the supervision of a Kshatriya. And then a Vaishya, a farmer. Farmer and tradesperson. Tradesperson doesn't mean like electrician or a chippy or plumber. No, tradesperson means someone who trades, makes business deals. So a Vaishya's economics are all about that. Agriculture, growing food, milk, and trading that for other commodities. And then there's the laborer class. They simply engage in the service of others. You might have been a little afraid when you heard that for every householder of the higher caste should engage himself in his own occupational duty, but should not engage in the service of others. For this is the duty of a Shudra. Of course, life in the world these days often means engaging in the service of others, whether in the corporate sector, the educational sector, somehow or other you're serving under a boss. That's the setup we have today, which is not the classic Vedic system, in which only the laborer class would engage in the employment of others. We have to deal with what is there today. But it's very enlightening to know that there is a better way, there is a higher system. So therefore, to give us an idea, to give us some concepts of what is better and what is Krishna's system, we have Srila Prabhupada educating us in these purports. Otherwise we would think, well, this, the way it is just, it's not the best, but that's all that's on offer in the material world. So, But through the Bhaktivedanta purports, we're educated. Just like there's the spiritual world, unless we're educated about that, why should we have any incentive to stop our material activities? If it's the only game in town, why stop? So we're educated about the existence of the spiritual world, and we're also educated about what is Krishna's perfect system for conducting affairs in the material world. And again, it's a material system. We're speaking about money and how if you want to understand a great portion of your life, just follow the money trail. See where it leads. Chart the role of money in your life, whether you have a lot or just have a little. Money affects relationships. Money affects social status. Perhaps regarding relationships, you've never heard a saying that used to be quite popular. Marry the money, love comes later. Or you might have heard me repeat a mantra my mother taught me when I was 5 years old. A mantra, though, that I never had a chance to use. She said, "Son, always remember, romance without finance is a nuisance." As I said, I never had a chance to use the mantra. More powerful than money is the desire for love. You want to love and be loved. Unless there is a methodology and goal in bhakti targeting love, what is the use? Otherwise, we have the deficiency of impersonalism, which acknowledges, just as the personalists acknowledge, that the material world is an illusion, it's Maya, but the impersonalists acknowledge no loving affairs and no loving relationships beyond the illusory energy. By reading Caitanya Caritamrita, the eternal characteristics of the living force in perfection, the nectarian eternal characteristics of the living force in perfection, we get a glimpse into pure loving affairs. By focusing on Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, we can better understand Krishna's pastimes, because Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. In the affairs of Lord Chaitanya, you see pure love. And then you can understand better the pure love of Krishna and his associates in Vrindavan. Love can be very possessive. And indeed, in the higher stages of bhakti, there's something called mamata, possessiveness in pure bhakti. Krishna is mine, I am Krishna's. Everyone in the material world would like to feel that, to have someone say, "You're mine, and I am yours." It surcharges your life with meaning and purpose, right? That psychology is a dim reflection of the unlimitedly bright spiritual reality, in which as the devotee advances in the higher stages of bhakti, the devotee actually feels, Krishna is my master, Krishna is my friend, Krishna is my son, Krishna is my lover. And this possessiveness is there through thick and thin. And we'll see in the life of Murari Gupta how Mahaprabhu tested Murari Gupta's attachment for Lord Ram. Now those of you who know this Lila might think, why didn't Mahaprabhu just leave well enough alone? Murari Gupta's a great devotee. He's a Ram Bhakta. All glories, Ki Jai. But Mahaprabhu wants to make a point about Krishna Tattva, and he also wants to demonstrate the glories of Murari Gupta's love. It's going to seem like Mahaprabhu is really putting Murari Gupta through the ringer. But actually, you see, what looks like pain and torture to our eyes is actually, when you're talking about the affairs of the spirituality and the intimate affairs of the spirituality, you're dealing with ananda, bliss, in a different way of being. You see, in the spiritual world, there's pain and pleasure. So you might say, well, what's the use then in the material world that we know about pain and pleasure? But in the spiritual world, you have non-duality. That doesn't mean no variety. The impersonalists make the mistake of saying, if there's something truly spiritual, there are no differences, everything is homogeneous, no variety, nothing like the dualities of material existence, hot, cold, pleasure, pain. But the knowledge of the spiritual world teaches you that there is variety in the spiritual world, endless variety. But all the varieties are of the same quality. So in the spiritual world, there is pain, there is pleasure, but it's all blissful. That's impossible for us to understand materially. How can pain be blissful? But the pain of separation from Krishna is the most blissful pain, because your focus on Krishna is intensified. So that is what Mahaprabhu is going to put Murari Gupta through. To demonstrate to the world Murari Gupta's pure love, and to show that even though Krishna is more attractive than Ram, still there are devotees of Lord Ram. And especially Murari Gupta is a devotee, a special devotee of Lord Ram. So how did this incident begin? It began with Mahaprabhu glorifying devotees. Glorifying devotees as if he was speaking with 5 mouths. Teaching us that glorifying devotees, appreciating devotees, is such a pleasure, such a divine activity. We can only pray as we continue on the bhakti path that we more and more become inclined to glorify devotees and become more and more expert at it. It's kind of a special science. You can even look at it as a sport. But first, there's the desire. I want to learn the sociology of glorifying Vaishnavas. You have to start somewhere, and that means you start looking around and seeing the wonders that devotees do, their abilities, their sacrifice, and you start talking about it. In this way, we're following in the footsteps of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So he's been glorifying other devotees, and now he gets to Murari Gupta. And first he embraces Murari Gupta, and he wants to make known to the whole universe the bhakti nishta, the faith in devotional service that Murari Gupta has. We all have to have faith in something. Those of you who have read the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and remember it, you've heard Krishna say that there are 3 types of faith according to the modes of material nature, and how all your aspects of life with a material body and material mind are shaped by the modes of material nature. Even your thoughts, even your beliefs, even your conceptions are products of the modes of material nature. You have to have faith in something. You cannot live without being a faithless person. So you try to have faith in Maya. How do you do that? One day I'll be satisfied. One day I'll be fulfilled. I just have to work harder or be more patient or meet the right persons or be with the right person, and there'll be fulfillment and satisfaction for me. That is faith. And then when you get older, into your senior years in life, you don't have so much faith for yourself, but you have faith that your children or grandchildren, they will be fulfilled, they will be satisfied. In this way, the illusion marches on. So first, before we talk about bhakti nishta, firm faith in devotional service, let's make sure we understand we are creatures of faith, but we have taken shelter of the illusory energy, which is like a little child approaching the mother and laying down on the mother's lap to peacefully sleep, feeling completely safe and sound. You've all seen that, yes? Sometimes if mothers bring their little children to class. Oh, there's an example. Gauri feeling safe and sound on the lap of her mother, Charumukhi. Nothing can bother her. She's safe from all the problems of the world. She's not even thinking of the problems of the world. She's not worried. Can Ananta Vrindavan pay the mortgage? she's not worried about that. Is he coming home tonight? She's just totally safe and sound in her feelings. But suppose, well, we won't use her as an example, but suppose someone does that, takes shelter of mother's lap, and then the mother, unthinkable, right? Mother decapitates her own child. I use a big word so Gauri doesn't know what it means. Everyone would be horrified. How can you do this to a little child who's taken shelter? Your own. But that's what the illusory energy does to us. But we don't see it coming, and even when it happens, we accept reassurance from Maya. Oh, that was a mistake. Try again. Take shelter again. It'll work out this time, I promise you. In this way, lifetime after lifetime goes on. We don't give up. And what do our friends and relatives tell us? Keep the faith, keep the faith. Don't give up, don't be a loser, don't be a bludger, keep the faith. So bhakti means how to transform the faith in the material energy, that one day I'll be fulfilled, my ship is coming in, one day I'll be satisfied. How to transform that into faith in devotional service. So Mahaprabhu is embracing Murari Gupta and starting to glorify Murari Gupta's bhakti nishta, firm faith in devotional service. And all the devotees are listening. We should be so eager to hear about the glories of devotional service. We should be so eager to hear about the devotional service of others, so we can be inspired to be more dedicated to devotional service. Bhakti is not about religious belief. It's about serving Krishna with your senses. So now Lord Caitanya is going to begin putting on the pressure. he's going to put Murari Gupta in the most intense pressure cooker. But it's all about transcendental love. So Mahaprabhu, and everyone knows Murari Gupta is a Ram Bhakta. He's attached to Lord Ramchandra. There are three most sublime forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as explained by Rupa Goswami in Laghu Bhagavatamrita. All the manifestations, all the incarnations, all the expansions of Krishna are perfect and complete. They're not missing anything, but they don't show the completeness that these three topmost forms demonstrate. Topmost because these three forms, Lord Nrsingadev, Lord Ramchandra, and Krishna, reveal more of the completeness that the other incarnations and manifestations don't. But sometimes we make the mistake of thinking, Matsya, Kurma, this avatar, that avatar, they're lesser. They're not lesser, it's just that they reveal less of their inherent completeness. They're all Om Purnam, the complete whole. But the complete whole, in its various manifestations, doesn't reveal all the characteristics. So you look at Lord Nrsingadev, his relationship with Prahlad, and his power. He's especially known for that. Affectionate to his devotee, like Nrikeshari, like a female lioness is toward her cubs. Therefore, another name for Lord Nrsingadev is Nrikeshari. And such power, unprecedented power. But Lord Ramchandra is more attractive because Ramchandra, in his personal relationships, shows more sweetness. Ramchandra's sweetness is bound up with a lot of opulence, Aishvarya. Lord Ramchandra has his abode in Vaikuntha, Ayodhya, and the facsimile or embassy of Ram's abode in Vaikuntha is there on earth as Ayodhya in central India. Just like Braj is the embassy, the outpost of Braj in Goloka Vrindavan. But Krishna shows characteristics that none of the other forms of Godhead show. Not Narayan, not Lord Nrsingadev, not Lord Ramchandra. What are the four special characteristics of Krishna that only Krishna, as the original cause of all causes, Supreme Personality Godhead, Swayam Bhagavan, what are those four characteristics that only Krishna shows? Prema Madhurya. He's surrounded by such intimate loving affairs in pure love. Rupa Madhurya, his beauty. The beauty that Krishna displays is incomparable. Even other forms of Godhead can't compare. Lila Madhurya, his pastimes are so attractive, incomparably attractive. It doesn't mean Lord Nrsingadev or Lord Ram's pastimes are not attractive. It's just that Krishna's pastimes are in a special category of their own. So Prema Madhurya, Lila Madhurya, Rupa Madhurya, and Venu Madhurya, the flute playing. Everyone likes music, but Krishna is the supreme musician. A point of comparison mentioned in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Krishna Kirtan Prabhu is always reminding me of various nectarian passages. So I'll remind him of this one. So you can grasp a little bit of the difference between the inconceivable attractiveness of Lord Ram and the inconceivably greater attractiveness of Krishna. During Ram Lila, the plants and trees cried only once. On the day Ram was exiled to the forest. But every day in Krishna Lila, the plants and trees are crying in ecstasy as Krishna enters the forest. Every day. So meditate on that difference. So let's witness Lord Caitanya practically, you could say, transcendentally twisting Murari Gupta's arm. So Lord Caitanya is repeating this history to the assembly of devotees. Previously, I induced Murari Gupta again and again to be attracted by Lord Krishna. I said to him, my dear Gupta, Brajendra Kumar, Lord Krishna is the Parama Madhurya. He's the ultimate sweetness. Not only that, let's hear some Krishna Tattva, the science of Krishna. He's Swayam Bhagavan, the original personality of God himself. He's Sarvamshi, the source of all the other manifestations and incarnations. He's Sarvasraya, the reservoir of all energies. He's Vishuddha Nirmala Prem. He's pure transcendental love itself. And Sarva Rasamoha. He's the reservoir of all pleasure. Well, you would think, well, that's enough to think about, isn't it? But Mahaprabhu's only beginning. He's going to pour it on. Krishna is the reservoir of all transcendental qualities. He's like a mine of gems. He's expert at everything, very intelligent. He's sober. He's the summit, the peak of all rasas. His character is very sweet, and his pastimes are melodious. He's expert in intelligence, and he enjoys all the pastimes and rasas that he indulges in. And Mahaprabhu reveals, I requested Murari Gupta, worship Krishna and take shelter of him. But for his service, nothing appeals to the mind. Nothing. How can Murari Gupta hold up against all this? Try to understand this kind of inconceivable pressure, because Murari Gupta is a pure bhakta, and he's a pure bhakta of Lord Ram. And here is Mahaprabhu. A materialist would accuse Mahaprabhu these days of bullying. Oh, bullying at the workplace. Let's have an investigation. He's a Krishna-conscious leader who's bullying devotees. Worship Krishna, take shelter of him, but for his service, nothing appeals to the mind. So how's Murari Gupta doing right now? He's hearing this. Mahaprabhu said, I told him again and again and yet again. And so Mahaprabhu relayed that my influence was working. Murari Gupta's mind was a little transformed. He was leaning to relinquishing Lord Ram and focusing just on Lord Krishna. Murari Gupta humbly replied as he's being swayed. I mean, who can hold up against Lord Caitanya? He's Radha Krishna combined. So Murari Gupta replies, I'm your servant and your order carrier. I have no independent existence. Isn't this what Bhagavad Gita says at the end in chapter 18? Sarva dharmam prityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Abandon all your conceptions and take Krishna's plan. So Murari Gupta is acknowledging that. What can I do? I'm your servant. Your order is what I live on. I have no independent existence. So he went home. The whole night he stayed up, thinking, I have to give up Ram Sangha. I have to give up the association of Lord Ramchandra, my Lord. Sleepless night. I don't know if you've ever had a sleepless night, the whole night, over some material crisis, some misunderstanding, some setback. Well, this is the pure devotional equivalent of a sleepless night of worry. But it's not material pain. Murari Gupta has no material influence in his body and mind. This is an affair of pure love. And the so-called pain of going through this ordeal is simply intensifying the pure love. So you say you want love. Krishna knows how to arrange for the best love. But when he arranges for our development of pure love, we complain, right? Oh, Krishna, why do I have to go through this? We equate nice times in the material world with Krishna's grace upon us. So Murari Gupta's up all night. He can't sleep. He's praying at the lotus feet of Lord Ram. What else can you do? He's praying, let death come to me now, tonight. I can't do it. I can't give up. Ramcharan, the lotus feet of Lord Raghunath, Lord Ramchandra. I can't do it. Not only was he up all night, but Kaviraj Goswami reveals in Caitanya Caritamrita that Murari Gupta's crying the entire night. Have you ever done that? I mean, the entire night, not for a few hours. His mind had no rest all night long. Awake all night, crying all night, praying to Lord Ramchandra. Let death come. I can't do it. I'm trying. Finally in the morning, Murari Gupta comes to see Mahaprabhu. And he falls at the feet of Mahaprabhu, still crying. And he presents an appeal. He said to Mahaprabhu, I've sold my head unto the lotus feet of Ramchandra, Raghunath. I can't take my head back. I can't withdraw my head. It's giving me too much pain to even think about it. Now you should be thinking, what kind of love is this? Perhaps you've been in relationships in which you just decided, I just got to get out. I just got to withdraw. It might have caused you some deliberation and pain, but when it was done, it's done. Somehow or other, you, so to speak, washed that person out of your hair. But Murari Gupta couldn't do it. He's showing you something about pure love. So he presents to Mahaprabhu the dilemma. I can't give up the service of Ramchandra's lotus feet, but if I don't do that, I break your order. I'm trapped. I'm between a rock and a hard place in the worst way. What can I do? I'm your servant. You ordered me. Focus on Krishna. I can't do it. You see, Murari Gupta knows Krishna Tattva. He knows Krishna is Sarvamshi, the source of all avatars. He knows Krishna is Parama Madhura, the supreme sweetness. But Murari Gupta is the eternal servant of Lord Ram. He can't get away from that. That's his constitutional position. That's where his transcendental heart is. So he's caught. Feel it for him. He's caught in this way. Mahaprabhu's ordered, but I'm a Ram Bhakta. What am I going to do? I'm trying to follow Mahaprabhu's order. I can't do it. Better I die. So he says to Mahaprabhu, you are all merciful, so kindly grant me this mercy. Let me die right in front of you. Let's stop this ordeal. What was Mahaprabhu's response? Lord Chaitanya became very happy. So happy? Look what you put your devotee through. He's a Ram Bhakta, but he's a Gaur Bhakta also. Look what you're doing to him. Is this what bhakti is all about? Get me out of here. It's true. Lord Chaitanya says, hearing this, I became very happy. I raised Murari Gupta off the ground and embraced him. And then Mahaprabhu explains, Sadhu, sadhu, all glories unto you, Murari Gupta. Excellent, excellent, sadhu, sadhu. Your method of worship is so sudrita, so firmly fixed, that even on my request, you couldn't take your mind from Lord Ram. Even on my request. Even you're getting the supreme pressure. You still couldn't take your head away from Ramchandra's lotus feet. So then, Mahaprabhu explains further. E mata sevakir priti chai Prabhu pai. Prabhu chada-ila leha pada chadan nayai. The servitor must have love and affection for the lotus feet of the Lord exactly like this. Even if the Lord wants separation, a devotee cannot abandon the shelter of his lotus feet. So this is what's being demonstrated in this encounter between Murari Gupta and Lord Chaitanya. Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself as a devotee, is ordering, separate yourself from Ram, attach yourself to Krishna. But Murari Gupta couldn't do it. He couldn't abandon the shelter of Ramchandra's lotus feet. So in the purport, Prabhupada explains, such is the chastity of devotional service. It's a unique concept, isn't it? Chastity of devotional service. Of course, what does chastity even in the material sphere mean? I once was speaking to a high school class of 15 and 16-year-olds. It was in Auckland, New Zealand. And we were talking about lifestyles and bhakti and the usual topics that they're all interested in and hearing about the connection to Krishna. So we were talking about the usual high school scene, hooking up, hooking off. So I just asked about a room full of these 30 students, does anyone know the meaning of chastity? And they all looked at each other. No one could define what it meant. Either chastity or being chaste. It's like, we're scratching their heads. One person said, is that a word from the Middle Ages? So if we can't these days understand material chastity, how can we understand spiritual chastity involving pure love? And this is what Mahaprabhu is glorifying in Murari Gupta. The servitor must have love and affection exactly like what Murari Gupta is demonstrating. No matter what, even if ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, the devotee can't take his head away from the lotus feet of his worshipable Lord. So Prabhupada continues to write in the purport, in a firm relationship with the Lord, the devotee does not give up the Lord's service under any circumstance. As far as the Lord himself is concerned, if the devotee chooses to leave, the Lord brings him back again, dragging him by the hair. This is not for neophyte devotees. It's for those devotees who have, through thick and thin, served Krishna, and some or other they become deviated. You can be sure that at some point in their deviated life, that Krishna will drag them back. Maybe not in this lifetime. This lifetime is not the only lifetime. But once again, just like you read about Jud Bharat in the 5th canto. The Lord brings him back again, dragging him by the hair. This is the relationship in thick and thin. That's why Arjuna expresses his concern in Bhagavad Gita. What happens to someone who takes to the transcendental path and then later deviates because of worldly mindedness? What happens? It looks like that person blows it completely, materially and spiritually. You lost your material pleasure, even though it's illusory, you still lost it. And you lost your spiritual hopes, your spiritual pleasure. So Krishna, I beg you, please explain. It seems to me such a person is like a cloud in the sky that's been just blown away. The cloud has no position, neither material success nor spiritual success. And Krishna explains that one who has done good, the supreme good, and devotional service is the supreme good, is never permanently overcome by evil. So there you get the explanation by Krishna of what happens to someone who takes to bhakti and desists, falls away after a short time, and someone who does so after a long time. In this way, Krishna is proving that better you take to bhakti and risk falling away than not take to bhakti at all. Because if you do, as Narada Muni says in the first canto of Bhagavatam, if you do all your material affairs perfectly, you're going to lose it all anyway. So if you want to gamble, sometimes at Krishna Village we talk about the Krishna gamble, the bhakti gamble. If you want to gamble, you gamble on Krishna. You'll never lose. But if you gamble on material life, guess what? You always lose. Victory comes in bhakti, either immediately, after a while, or in the next birth, because you're on the path of perfection. And if your service has been so dedicated to Krishna, and somehow or other you try to get away, Krishna is so grateful. He drags you back by the hair, so to speak. You're not getting away. You've done so much to please me. I was telling sometimes the story of one of Prabhupada's first devotees from 2nd Avenue in New York. And that devotee was now a sannyasi. He was preaching in India, the mid-70s. And this devotee was unique. He just, in his dedication to Prabhupada, he would just do whatever he wanted to do without consulting anyone or working with anyone. He was famous for being like that. And so one day the devotees went to Prabhupada in Mumbai at Juhu and complained, "We can't contain this Maharaj. He just does whatever he likes. We have a book warehouse, and he wanted some books. We have a BBT book warehouse. And he just broke into the warehouse, took all the books he wanted, and went to South India to distribute them." So the devotees were very upset. This is not how things are done. And what was Prabhupada's response? He helped me so much in the beginning. Let him do whatever he wants. There's such a thing as gratitude in bhakti. Srila Prabhupada was always so grateful for all the service done to assist him. Whether someone's a leader, a book distributor, this, that, the other, he was always so grateful. Gratitude is an important part of bhakti, just as glorifying devotees is. So Mahaprabhu is now explaining, just to test your firm faith in Ramchandra, he's telling this to Murari Gupta. Just to test your firm faith, I requested you again and again, change your bhajan, change your worship from Ramchandra to Krishna. Mahaprabhu wants to demonstrate to the world what is real love. And then he says, I congratulated Murari Gupta. Why should you give up the worship of Lord Ram? You are Sakshat Hanuman. You are directly Hanuman. You are the eternal servant of Lord Ramchandra. I congratulate you. So Mahaprabhu concludes, I accept this Murari Gupta as my life and soul. When I hear of his humility, it perturbs my very life. Can we ever conceive of that kind of humility that would perturb, affect in such a way the very life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So by hearing these accounts, we develop a desire. Oh, if I could only become a pure servitor of Krishna. And that's a great beginning. Don't underestimate the potency of that beginning. All right, any questions?
When you mentioned that Murari Gupta is both Ram Bhakta and Gaura Bhakta, I found that very interesting because Lord Chaitanya is also Krishna Bhakta as well. And it seems that the devotees, because we hear from Srila Prabhupada, the devotees can simultaneously be eternally Lord Chaitanya's Leela and Krishna's Leela. So it seems like these devotees like Murari Gupta, that Murari Gupta personality continues eternally also as a quasi-Krishna Bhakti, you could say, indirectly through the attachment and service of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So is that the fact that these devotees from other Leelas also through Chaitanya's Leela experience Krishna Bhakti as well?
Mahaprabhu is Swayam Bhagavan. He's not an avatar. We very loosely call Lord Chaitanya the golden avatar, the avatar for Kali Yuga. That's just, it's acceptable, but it's not precise. Mahaprabhu is the original personality Godhead, just as Krishna is. So when Krishna wants to taste love of himself in separation, he manifests as Mahaprabhu. When Mahaprabhu wants to taste what it's like being the supreme enjoyer, he manifests as Krishna. So we say when, but there's no question of time. There's no step one, step two, because you're dealing with affairs that are beyond time and space. So Mahaprabhu contains everything. The three Vishnus are within Mahaprabhu. So he has all possibilities, but still his special purpose is to spread Braja Prem. So I'll answer your question in that way, if you don't mind. Anything else? I thought you were actually going to throw it.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for a nice class, and it's nice to think about what we're going through. So for me, I'm thinking about loving relationships, and I'm always feeling like sometimes I want devotee friendships that I can run with, but it seems like it doesn't always match, and then you really have to center on Krishna. But yeah.
What doesn't always match?
Relationships, devotee relationships.
Family or friends or?
Friends. Friends, family, all these things. Like everybody has a certain mood in their devotional life, and yet sometimes I feel like I'm designed to find personalities that sort of have that same drive and devotion that you have.
How would you describe that drive and devotion?
Well, it's getting a bit personal.
Well, you're a person. You're asking a personal question.
You're encouraged to speak in the class, so here I am putting myself on the line.
You like chanting Hare Krishna?
Yes.
Okay, I'm helping you. You like hearing Bhagavatam?
Yes.
You like doing devotional service?
Yes.
Very good. We'll tolerate you. I'm sure there are persons here who like that also. Okay. And there'll be persons, quite frankly, who think, oh, you're a bit too full on. You're one of those who wants to go back to God in this lifetime, and that's not possible, so you might as well take the slow train and, diversify a bit. So, you find those who share your intensity. And hear and chant and serve with them. And also, if you can inspire those who are not so dedicated, that's very good, but that's not possible all the time. But an example is worth thousands of words. So don't be impatient. Understand the terrain, the territory that you live in. The Bhakti community is like a hospital with all different types of patients. Some follow the doctor's order very strictly, some halfway, and some not at all. So you have to know how to navigate through that hospital. Even if someone just chants Hare Krishna, and that's all they do, you still respect them in your mind because they're chanting Hare Krishna. Doesn't mean you have to associate with them. So whether it's your family or your friends, still you have to discriminate. But you discriminate in an expert way, a gentle, respectful, and sensitive way. You lead your life in that way without making sharp cleavages or divisions. No, not you. At the same time, you go about your affairs. If you want to go back to God in this lifetime, all glories. Arrange your life in that way. That's your right. Anything else? You'll have to step forward, Jivadoya. You're way in the back.
Thank you for such a beautiful class. You were speaking about how Lord Nrsimhadev, Lord Ram, Lord Krishna are all analytically attractive, although there's a hierarchy in terms of expression and fullness of that attractiveness. I was wondering if for someone who's a devotee of Krishna in Vrindavan, but who knows that there's no difference between Krishna and his other forms, and knows that Nrsimhadev and Rama are directly Krishna, does hearing the pastimes and holy names of Nrsimhadev and Lord Rama, do they increase one's attractiveness for Krishna just as much as hearing Krishna's Vrindavan Lila?
If someone's actually in Vrindavan, they don't even think that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All they know is he's our everything. By the grace of Narayan, we have Krishna. You know the famous example of the gopis searching for Krishna. And Krishna is hiding in a bush and he wants to hide himself. And so he presents himself as four-handed Narayan. And the gopis say, "Oh, Narayan, all glory is to you, but can you tell us where Krishna is?" So if you're truly a Brijvasi, you're not affected by Aishvarya, the opulence of the Supreme Personality Godhead. You just think Krishna is our everything. He's our heart and soul. He may be God, he may be a demigod, we don't know. All we know is Braja Janaranjana, he's attracting everyone here. Yamuna Tira Vanachari, he's playing on the bank of the Yamuna. Just like the cowherd boys. Sometimes they see Krishna do something amazing. Because in Vrindavan, Krishna expresses his powers, his Aishvarya, within the context of sweetness. So that's why when he kills Putana, for example, he does it by sucking out her life through her breast. He does everything in a way that maintains the sweetness while demonstrating the power. He marches into the mouth of Aghasura and then expands himself. He does everything in a human-like way. So sometimes the cowherd boys, they see these things and they wonder, well, who is our friend Krishna? They start speculating, philosophically speculating. We've got it. He must be a demigod. And you know what that means then? We're demigods too, because we're just as good as him. Yeah, that's right. Anything else?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for wonderful class. I just want to ask about Lord Chaitanya. He's Krishna himself, and does he comes to earth every Kali Yuga, or it's only?
Not every Kali Yuga. Once in a day of Brahma, right after Krishna's appearance.
And every Kali Yuga that someone else comes? Or?
Yes, but not Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who's not simply Krishna. Loosely we say that, but he's Radha Krishna combined. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayanya. He's the emotions of Srimati Radharani, the effulgence of Srimati Radharani, and the two-handed form of Krishna. The emotions of Srimati Radharani turn Sham Sundar golden. So you can't take either out of him. You can't take the Krishna out of him, out of Mahaprabhu, and you can't take the Radharani out of him. All right. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.